Sanana Rose, and this is my YouTube channel, Natural Living with Sanana. Welcome back. If this is your first time here, I'm so happy that you found my channel. I share information and tips and product reviews to help you live a more healthy, sustainable, natural, and non-toxic lifestyle. So today we're doing an unboxing video. So hang out with me a little bit here and you'll see what is in this box and learn so much about this new product that I found this year to help you be healthier, happier, and have less exposure to toxic chemicals. This is one of the areas that I think people don't necessarily think about, where actually lots of toxic chemicals can be found. So what is it that we're talking about? Let's open up the box and see. So the top says, life is filled with abundant moments. This is one of them. That is lovely. And then next we've got a little brochure. It's wine, guys, wine. This is Dry Farm Wines. I have had a membership to Dry Farm Wines since the beginning of this year. So I think this is probably about my third shipment of the wines. It is a membership program. You can't just go in and buy a single wine. I have signed up for every 2 months because that fits our needs better than once a month. We actually already have a bunch of wine too, so we didn't need to be getting more wine every single month. So every 2 months I get this shipment of a case of wine, which is 6 bottles. The great thing about Dry Farm Wines is that they are dry farmed, which means that they don't use irrigation in their agriculture. They actually use the old world methods of farming. The plants are just living their best natural life with the natural waters and rains and grown that way, which apparently is a much healthier way to grow a vineyard, much less toxic and also more organic. So let's dig into the box and then we'll talk a little bit more about Dry Farm Wines and what is so special about them. The next flyer says, drink pure wines, the premier natural lab-tested, health quantified wine merchant. So they do actually test their wines and they're testing them for several things. So hang out with me here and we'll talk more about that in just a minute. And another little card that says, with love and gratitude, Dry Farm Wines family. Super sweet little postcards in there. Oh, the other thing is that it comes with these little stickers so that you can put them on your bottles and you can differentiate which ones are your Dry Farm wines versus the rest of your wine that might be in your wine fridge or on your shelf. We'll put those on in a minute, and they package them really nicely. Guys, notice this sustainable packaging. I actually found an old YouTube video of someone else doing an unboxing a couple of years ago, and they were using styrofoam. So yay, Dry Farm Wines. I'm so glad that they moved to this much more sustainable packaging. So we've never had a problem with the shipments. They always seem to keep the bottles safe. Nothing has broken. It looks like they did put a little bit of ice pack inside of it. And again, sustainability, guys. Look, they packaged it in this reusable muslin bag. Of course, this you can do nothing about, but at least the bag that they put it in is reusable. And even if you put it in the landfill, it's gonna break down super easily. Another thumbs up. If they're talking sustainable with their wines, then of course they should have sustainable packaging as well. Now, the membership that I got was half and half, so half white wines and half red wines. And so first we're getting a Riesling, and this one has 11.84% by volume alcohol. That is another thing about Dry Farm Wines. All of their wines have 12.5% or less of alcohol content. A lot of wines out on the market are 15% these days, and it is one of the goals of Dry Farm Wines to keep their alcohol percentage low. I like that. I don't need that high of alcohol percent. I actually don't drink that much wine, and sometimes I feel poorly when I do drink wine but drinking these natural and organic wines, I have found that I don't get some of the symptoms that come along, those like hangover symptoms, which you think are from the alcohol, but actually they're probably from the chemicals that are in the wines. Because believe it or not, the wine can actually have up to 70 plus chemicals that are approved by the FDA, guys. Can you believe it? Approved by the FDA to be putting in the wines, including colors, thickeners, like all sorts of things that are not natural. That is another reason I'm so excited about this company. There's a little bit of information on the back, and actually this one does have a Dry Farm Wines label on the back of it. It is a white wine from Italy, and you can actually get a lot more information about each wine. Usually they give you a little card or something in the box so that you can go and look up the information on each of the wines so that you know what to pair it with, and that has been really helpful to me and my husband when we're going ahead and trying these. I hope it's a little bit dry, but we'll see when we open it. We'll do some wine tastings for you with some of these bottles and bring that back to you as well. One thing that you need to know about Dry Farm Wines is that they do sometimes taste a little different than commercial wines, and part of that is their purity or the level of alcohol. There is also a lot less sugar in these wines. In fact, almost no sugar. This bottle that I was just looking at actually tells us the residual sugar is 0.1 grams per liter. So like that's next to nothing. And they say that all of their bottles are 0.5 grams or less of sugar. So that makes them keto friendly, paleo friendly. If you really need to steer clear of sugar, then these wines are going to work for you. They actually test the wines to get those results. They test them for sugar, they test them for alcohol content, and they also test them for chemicals as well. The second bottle that we got, super cool lid. This is actually a screw off, which is nice. So this one is Weininger. It's a Gemischter-Satz. I don't think I've ever heard of that wine. It says Weiner wine. Weiner wine. So this probably is from Germany. Gemischter-Satz is a Viennese tradition made from a mixed planting which must be harvested at once as a field blend and fermented together as a dry white wine. Wow, sounds delicious. I love dry white wine. Like I said, white wines are my favorite. Here's a red wine, and it's a French red. Ooh, this would be for a romantic dinner night. Sounds amazing. And this one again has the Dry Farms wine label on the back. Un grand amour. So that is beautiful. Or actually in French you would say un grand amour. And it's a product of France from Domaine Jourdan, a red wine from the Chinon region, and it's a Cabernet Franc. So I bet my husband is gonna love this bottle. 12.36% alcohol and 0.7 grams of sugar per liter. That's a little bit more than 0.5, but still right in there. So this is probably going to be a nice fruitier wine. Okay, here's another white. So this one is called Jo de Raleigh. This one is actually from France as well, a 2019 wine. And this one does say contains sulfites. That is another thing, is they try to have the most minimal amount of sulfites possible. I will put a link to their website in the description so that you can go there and get all of the information. Also, if you're enjoying this video, make sure that you give it a thumbs up and subscribe and hit the little bell if this is the type of information that you would like to see more of in your inbox. We love to have you in this community. Certainly share this with any friends that you think might like this wine or this information. If you have anything to share, if you've tried Dry Farm wines and you love it or you didn't love it, let us know in the comment section. Also, any tips or information that you have to share. We love that. We love hearing from you in this community. So let me know what you think down below. And like I said, I will have a link in the description with the website for Dry Farm Wines, but I'm just going to read to you a little bit of information right now about their wines. I think I've shared most of it with you, but I just want to make sure that I didn't miss anything. They talk a little bit about their farming standards and the growers that they work with, and a little bit about the farming practices, and then they talk about their purity standards. So that's what we talked about before. The wines are statistically sugar-free, they are low alcohol, and lower sulfites. It says our wines average a very low 39 parts per million, and in the US, by law, sulfites are allowed in amounts up to 350 parts per million in wine. So they keep theirs very low. They only work with people that are using very low sulfites. Also, you guys, I watched a YouTube video from Dry Farms Wine, and I will put a link to that in the description as well, because he explains in detail about the company, what they stand for, what they do. I thought it was really informative. I just watched it today, and I think you would find it very interesting as well. The last thing that we didn't talk about is that they use all native yeasts. Their natural wines are only fermented with wild native yeast growing naturally on grapes. And a lot of commercial wines are actually fermented with GMO lab-cultured yeasts. The fact that they're using the natural yeasts is just fantastic. So all the more reason to love Dry Farm Wines and support them in their mission to bring us these healthy, non-toxic products. So let's get back to our wine. So that was another white. I'm actually going to put that in the front. We'll move the red to the back, and then we'll have two more reds in here. So this one, ooh, interesting label. So this is called Beck Inc. and Judith Beck 2019. And it looks like they've got an octopus on here with some octopus ink. So that is really cool. This one has 12% alcohol, and it doesn't tell us the sugar content here. You'd have to go to the Dry Farm Wines website to get that information on this bottle. So the last one is another red. It's from Grololo Python Paille, and this is another product of France. The wines actually come from all over the place. They usually give us a good variety in each of the shipments. This one says 12.12% by volume and 0.8 grams of sugar per liter. So like I said, guys, we'll go ahead and taste some of these wines for you, and I'll do some little videos of mine and Chris's wine tasting and add that to this video here. Okay, here we are, guys. I told you we would have a wine tasting, so Chris and I are having a little date night. I mean, why not, with all of you guys here. And we are going to sample the wines from our last Dry Farms Wine shipment. So here are 5 of the wines that we got in our last shipment. We actually drank one bottle, and this is the bottle that it was, and we didn't love it. So I actually wrote to the company and let them know that today. Like I was saying earlier, that is the cool thing about Dry Farm Wines, is that you can send back or let them know which bottles you don't like, and they'll send you a free bottle. And also, if you let them know which bottles you do like, they'll send you more of those as well. But anyway, the first one that we're going to taste is this one over here, and this is called Dal-Or Riesling. There is a website that Dry Farm Wines has where you can look up these wines, and it gives you a little description of each of the wines. So let's just see what this one says. It says, "What an elegant white, a nose of baking spice and vanilla becomes a beautiful citrus-filled palate accented by sassafras and stone mineral. It pairs well with fatty seafood, duck, and spicy dishes." So let's try it out and see what we think. It's pretty good, actually. It's a little bit tart, has some decent flavor and body to it. It's light, but also kind of refreshing, so I think it's a bit balanced. What do you think, Chris?
Nice. I'd say it's dry.
It's not a sweet Riesling.
And nice, elegant flavor, not overpowering in any way, well balanced.
I'd say we like it. We give this one a thumbs up. Okay, so the next one we're tasting is called Jeu de Rôle. The tasting notes for this one are fresh and bright with white fruit notes and a bit of a luscious palate. So that sounds amazing, doesn't it? It says it goes good with crab cakes and mussels. So let's try it out and see what we think. Ooh, this one is very interesting. I actually like it better than the first one. I think it just has more of an interesting palate. There's just more going on in this wine, I think. It's also bright, just like it said in the tasting notes, and pretty well balanced. Basically, all of the wines are pretty dry because they all have low sugar, and sugar is what makes them have a sweeter flavor. So if they're dry, that basically takes that out completely. So one of the reasons that I love dry farm wines is that they are dry, because my favorite is dry white wine. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I agree. It's got an interesting flavor, a little bit more flavor than the other one. Reminds me a little bit of a Chardonnay, a little bit of tartness still, probably not aged in oak, but yeah, it's just a nice dry white wine, like you said, refreshing and
little floral and very tasty. So I would give this one a thumbs up as well. Cheers! So that's it for the whites. We're actually gonna move on to the reds. And isn't it sweet, you guys? My husband prepared this lovely little appetizer tray, so when we're done filming, we can continue our date and eat these delicious cheeses and crackers and nuts that my husband put out. He's such a sweet guy and very thoughtful, so how fun. And now we're switching to our red wine glasses. Let's see what we've got here. This one is the Grololo Python Paille. So yeah, this one is the 2019 Python Paille Grololo, and it's a medium body wine from the Loire Valley. Wow, that's fun. In France, a perfect harmony of fruit and earth collect in the glass and show soft tannins and balanced acidity. It goes well with potato gratin and quiche. So obviously this is gonna go well with a more rich dish or a rich meal. So let's taste it and see what we think. Very interesting. What is it? It's almost like, I don't know, rubber or shoe leather or something like that. Sulfur. It's almost like sulfur, I think. And when you taste it, it's very fruity.
It's got a slight effervescence.
I don't love red wine. I do like something that has a little less tannins. This one is pretty smooth. And we do also have to remember that the wines that are made with less sugar tend to have a little bit of a different taste. And sometimes it takes a bit of an acquired taste to get used to them. But I will tell you guys, we've had quite a few bottles from Dry Farm Wines, and most all of them we have enjoyed. You just need to embrace the uniqueness of each of the bottles, which I think that's what wine tasting is all about. And remember, they have no chemicals and none of the pesticides that commonly are added or found in wine. So they're just so much healthier for you. What do you think about this one?
Interesting. Definitely kind of a different bouquet, and like I said, a slight effervescence to it. Smooth, easy drinking, enjoyable, fruity, relatively low tannins. I just had a bite of cheese, so I think I'll try it after that.
Good idea. I'll have a little bite of cheese as well. It is really good with the cheese. And we have to remember that everybody has a different palate. So we're all going to taste things very differently. So that's another thing, is a wine that Chris likes, I might not like, and vice versa. So you just never know. So that's what we think of this bottle. Pretty good, unique, interesting.
I'd say pairs well with cheeses, probably go good with seafood, chicken dishes. It's relatively light, not too rich. Easy drinking red that's just nice overall. This is Un Grand Amour from France.
So here's the tasting notes on this one. This is a Cab Franc, and it has full body. It's from the Chinon region of France. It is a soft, delicate wine with notes of red fruit and earth that show true French finesse. And it says it pairs well with red meat and grilled potatoes. It's called Un Grand Amour, and it's a 2019 wine. So let's taste it and see what we think. It's much more purple than the last one, I would say. Fruity, very fruity, like cherry, I think. Notes of red fruit and earth. Definitely red fruit. I mean, I thought cherry right off the bat. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, cherry, maybe even like raspberry.
Mm-hmm.
But also very smooth, low tannins, relatively low acidity, I would say.
Very easy to drink for a red wine.
Mm-hmm.
So we like this one too. I'd say I like this one better than the Grilolo. So this one is definitely a winner.
I agree.
I think we'd order it again too. We love this one. This is our last wine. It's called Beck Inc.
Judith Beck, 2019.
Look at the label, you guys. I love this label. It's such a pretty octopus label, and we actually opened it before and tasted it, so we're going to taste it again. This is an Austrian wine from the Burgenland region. It's a medium body wine, and the tasting notes are purple fruits that bring darkness to the wine, yet are tensioned by a fresh and light palate. And they suggest pairing it with roasted duck and grilled sausage. So let's give it a taste and see what we think. Nose isn't quite as appealing as the Un Grand Amour. Ooh, you had this one in the wine fridge, I think. So it's a little bit cooler. We have our wine fridge set at the temperature that you would want it to be for a red wine down on the bottom, and then we have the white wines on the top. So this was chilled just to the perfect temperature for a red wine, apparently, and I actually like it. I like it a little more chilled than just room temperature. Definitely fruity, a little drier, a little more tannin, I would say, on this one.
More tannins, more acidity, and yeah, a little more fruit flavor, but I don't like it as much personally.
Which one's your favorite?
Un Grand Amour.
I think so too. That's my favorite red as well. It's all right. I wouldn't say it's horrible by any means, just not our favorite. And that's how it is with wine, guys. Some of them you absolutely love, and others are okay, drinkable for sure, but not your favorite. So,
and some of them you gotta send back.
And some of them you have to send back, which we had one in this shipment that we are happy to send back, and the rest of them are pretty great. So we have our two favorites. One is this one, and that other white one right there. So these are our two favorites from this shipment, and that is our reaction and our opinions after tasting all of the wines in this shipment. I hope this was helpful for you guys, and we'll go back to the regular video to finish this out. But thank you so much for hanging out with us. If you are enjoying this content, then definitely hit the like button and the subscribe button and the little bell so that you get notified when every episode comes out. Thanks, guys. Happy to see you here. Cheers, friends. Some of the wines you're going to love, and some of them you may not love so much. You might think they're okay. If there is any wine that you do not like at all, Dry Farm Wines actually does have a 100% money back guarantee. So if you did let them know that there was something you weren't happy with, they will just go ahead and send you another bottle of wine. So that is fantastic. They do also have sparkling wines and rosé, and I actually have ordered some special shipments in between of certain things. So that is totally an option as well, but I pay $159 for my membership. So it's $159 for these bottles. It is a little more on the spendier side, but of course you would expect that when you're getting natural, organic, sustainable, and chemical-free wines that are low in sugar. So I would expect to pay a little bit more for that. And so far, Chris and I have been loving the subscription. We've been loving getting these healthier wines, and I will tell you that I feel so much better after I drink these wines than when I drink a commercial wine. So I highly recommend it if this is something that you want to try out. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for stopping by. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the little bell, and share with anyone you think might be interested in this information and in this YouTube channel. Have a great day, everyone. I wish you the very best of health, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye, everyone.